day. We got our man. Michael Paul Brown is in custody.
Tonight, relief in Montana. After a week-long manhunt, authorities say they have arrested the man suspected of killing 4 people in a mass shooting. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. Investigators late today said that they found the suspected gunman, Michael Brown, in an area where they have been focusing their search for several days now. Authorities did not give specifics about exactly where that was, but we know earlier this week, law enforcement in Montana had been scouring a 22 square mile area southwest of the small town of Anaconda near Butte. Authorities believe Brown is responsible for last week's shooting at a bar in Anaconda that left 4 people dead. The Army veteran lived right next door to that bar. Late today, investigators described the tools they used to track him down.
Obviously, the Attorney General has talked about some of the specialized teams that were put in place. They have tremendous assets in the way of technology, canines, cameras, devices that track movement up in that area. So all of those things were in play in addition to basically human searches, walking through that difficult terrain to find it. So as all of those things were organized, we were able to eventually close in on Mr. Brown and locate him today.
So far, investigators have not said what the motive may have been for that shooting last week. Brown's niece did tell the Associated Press her uncle struggled with mental illness for many years. Well, today, California Governor Gavin Newsom and former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi hosted Texas Democrats in Sacramento. Those lawmakers are refusing to return to their home state in an effort to avoid a vote on new congressional maps in Texas that favor Republicans. KTVU's political reporter Greg Lee is in Sacramento with the details on today's meeting, as well as California's own redistricting plan that could soon go before voters.
We are running from nothing. We see the danger that is coming, and we are running straight for it.
Texas Democrats brought their redistricting fight to the California Capitol amid threats of arrest, removal, and fines.
We proudly stand with Californians in this moment that when faced with Texas's steel, they have met it head on with courage and with a sense of urgency to protect the entire nation.
Members of the Texas House who left the state rather than vote on a new congressional map to give Republicans a bigger edge met with Governor Newsom, Bay Area Representatives Nancy Pelosi and Zoe Lofgren, as well as lawmakers from the California State Senate and Assembly.
In unprecedented time, required an unprecedented approach, an unprecedented leadership to build the kind of consensus that we believe we have.
Newsom's leading the charge of blue states countering efforts in Texas by drawing their own maps to try to send more Democrats to the House in the 2026 midterms. State and congressional Democrats have received briefings about map renderings that could go before voters in a November special election.
This is self-defense for our democracy. They have hit out at our democracy, and we are here to defend it.
2 wrongs don't make a right. The response that we have to be prepared for is not a wrong. It's not a wrong to stand up for the Constitution of this state and for the Constitution of the United States of America in the face of those who would destroy it for their own personal power and profit.
California lawmakers need to move quickly ahead of an August 22nd deadline to approve and declare a ballot initiative for what could be a costly special election.
This has the potential to be a thermonuclear arms race of campaign funding centered in California. This ain't the recall of 2021, the potential recall against Gavin Newsom. It's bigger and badder than that.
Newsom said California will charge ahead only if Texas approves its gerrymandered maps. Facing pressure from President Trump, Governor Greg Abbott threatened to continue calling special sessions until the lawmakers returned. Attorney General Ken Paxton suing to remove the Democratic seats.
Not necessarily trying to handcuff them, but get them back to the state of Texas, hold them in contempt, and if they refuse to come, hopefully put them in jail.
These Democrats and Newsom say they're not backing down.
We are talking about emergency measures to respond to what's happening in Texas, and we will nullify what happens in Texas.
We are here because we do know that courage is contagious, and we are here to give hope to others to stand up and be courageous in this moment.
I asked Governor Newsom this afternoon if he has a plan B if voters do not approve of this proposal. He said he is confident not only Democrats, but Republicans and independents will look to send a message to Washington, D.C. and President Trump. Reporting in Sacramento, Greg Lee, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
We turn now to the numerous wildfires burning all across the West, and a fast-moving fire in Utah is forcing people to evacuate campgrounds east of Salt Lake City. The Bula fire started yesterday as strong winds crossed through Summit County. Already this fire has burned more than 1,500 acres. A helicopter is helping get campers to safety. One backpacker who was surrounded by flames described how first responders came to his rescue.
I was backpacking up to Allsop Lake, about a 9-mile hike. Got up there and this morning got fishing, catching a whole bunch of fish, saw a whole bunch of choppers all of a sudden, wondering what was going on. And then I took a look down the canyon, I saw smoke, so I hurried up and packed up. Was heading down the canyon about a half mile, and there was no way. It was on both sides of the canyon, flames everywhere, smoke everywhere. Yeah, when they came up there, I started, once I knew I couldn't get out, I was waving my shirt and everything else.
How close were you to the fire?
Within a quarter of a mile. Search and rescue came. Chopper Luke, the pilot, saying, came and got me. Took a couple tries because the wind was so bad up there. But lots of turbulence, up and down, up drafts, down drafts. But the pilot was awesome. But got me out of there, and here I am.
An incredible rescue there. Crews say several buildings are threatened by this fire. So far, there's no containment on the flames, and the cause of the fire is under investigation tonight. Well, Southern California's Canyon Fire has now grown to about 5 times the size it was at this time yesterday. But crews do have some containment on this fire. It's up to 28% tonight. Fox 11's Laura Diaz spoke with one man who is grateful for the crews who helped to save his LA County ranch.
Looking over your shoulder, I can see the blackened hillside.
Oh yeah, it was pretty scary. It got really close. You can feel the heat too.
Carlos Rodriguez is used to drama. His Silver Strand Ranch in Castaic often used for movie shoots. But in the last 24 hours, the danger wasn't pretend. It was real, as his 200-acre ranch was surrounded by flames. Fox 11 on the scene Thursday as the Canyon Fire erupted east of Lake Piru and spread into Carlos's property in LA County. Things looked bleak.
Yeah.
Friday, we were back. Miraculously, Carlos' stucco home still standing. We walked with Carlos. Signs of how precariously close the flames came to his home were everywhere, on every side. Carlos only slept an hour throughout the firefight, but he's clear on the emotions in his heart.
Probably around 3, 4 o'clock, you start seeing flames, all the way up to about 4 o'clock in the morning. We still had helicopters and airplanes dropping material. We had the fire department here, the sheriff department from Santa Clarita. I mean, we had so many people here trying to save the ranch, and I tell you, without them, I would have lost everything. So I am so grateful to these guys. Yeah.
You feel like a lucky man.
Oh, not only lucky, I feel blessed.
Yeah, great work by those fire crews. That was Fox 11's Laura Diaz reporting tonight from Southern California. Now, north from there, California's largest fire continues to burn tonight. It's keeping crews busy along the state's central coast. Several agencies have sent in strike teams to help fight the Gifford fire. Evacuation orders remain in effect for some rural communities in Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo counties. This fire has burned more than 104,000 acres, and it's 21% contained. 7 people, including 4 firefighters, have been injured. The cause of this fire is under investigation still tonight. Now, people as far away as Las Vegas are feeling the effects of California's fires. Today, wildfire smoke left a haze over much of southern Nevada. You can see from these shots showing the strip there, that haze is expected to stick around through at least tomorrow. Tonight, there is some encouraging news about Arizona's massive Dragon Bravo fire. Containment on this one is up to 36%. That is up from 29% yesterday. First responders are expecting red flag conditions will keep fire activity high tonight. This fire has already destroyed at least 70 buildings along the Grand Canyon's north rim, including the National Park's historic lodge. More than 134,000 acres have burned. A lightning strike started this fire back on the 4th of July. For more, let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Roberta Gonzalez, who is tracking those conditions for firefighters in terms of what they're facing this weekend. Are they going to get a break here with the weather, Roberta?
Just by a couple of degrees. That's about it. The winds, however, are beginning to dial back. But boy, Alex, it's hard to wrap your head around all of this, isn't it? This is why our firefighters are so important to us. We still have fire danger at this hour across portions of California, into the desert Southwest, into Nevada, Las Vegas, and all the way into Phoenix. Things will have a short reprieve in the morning hours, but then with that daytime heating and that slight wind that begins to pick up again, we do have that fire danger right there around California. We're talking about into the desert areas of San Diego and then crossing borders all the way into Arizona. So the fire danger, Riverside County, I would even include San Bernardino County and San Diego, where the temperatures will be in the triple digits, not in San Diego proper, but again in its outlying areas. And then we take you to Arizona. Look at just about the entire state has red, but that means temperatures in the triple digits. Phoenix all the way to Cochise County. We're talking about Benson, Tombstone, and all the way into Sierra Vista. Today in Phoenix, it was 114 degrees. The record was 116 degrees, and that was established back in 2012, so they made a run for it. Tonight, overnight, the low 92 degrees, and at this hour, it's 110 in Vegas, and that so far has been the daytime high. 90 in San Jose, and I can't remember so far this summer. I think that's the first time this summer, San Jose, the Santa Clara Valley, has seen 90 degrees. Just about 100 at the state capitol, 104 in Redding. It was 106 degrees in Tucson. Meanwhile, we're talking about this huge dome of high pressure. It will continue to build in, but we have comfortable temperatures to the north and Portland. So let's go ahead and walk you through all this. In Phoenix today, again, 114 degrees. Meanwhile, if you want to cool off, leave Arizona, head to California, Los Angeles, 91 degrees. That's above the average high of 82. So people flock to Santa Monica for a bit of a break. In San Francisco, the average high temperature 66 instead. Today, 70 degrees. A beautiful day, but we were looking at the East Bay in the San Francisco Bay Area there. And there you have the beautiful water in Seattle at 77 degrees. Currently, we have temperatures in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and even triple digits around the state of California and back in through Nevada. So not a lot going on. A little hint of some stratus in the form of fog around the West Coast late night, overnight. But otherwise, with the clear skies, boy, it's going to be a beautiful full sturgeon moon. Take a look at the temperatures. Denver, you're looking sweet with below average temperatures. Alex?
Okay, Roberta, thank you. Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, a stunning sight inside an apartment dumpster in Southern California. What neighbors did after finding that 20-foot-long python slithering through the trash. Plus, they are the popular plush collectibles that everyone is trying to get their hands on. We'll tell you how thieves stole thousands of dollars worth of Labubus from a small store. 13 more cities across 4 California counties are now joining LA's legal effort to challenge the federal government's immigration raids. Earlier today, LA City Attorney Heidi Feldstein Soto was joined by 8 of the 13 mayors to discuss this lawsuit. This comes one day after the Trump administration asked the U.S. Supreme Court to lift the order barring federal agents from making indiscriminate immigration arrests.
The federal government always has the right to enforce federal law. The issue is how. The issue is how can they do it constitutionally? I have, I guess, several copies of page 27 of the application that I mentioned earlier, in case any of you would like to see that, in fact, the federal government is asking for a license to profile.
There are now 20 cities supporting LA's legal effort, accusing the federal government of targeting immigrants based on race. Well, dozens of undocumented employees of the Los Angeles Equestrian Center near Burbank have reportedly been fired. The city contracts a private company to run that facility, which is near Griffith Park. About 40 people who care for the horses were reportedly let go. Some people who board their horses at that center were upset by the mass firing.
I'm very disappointed in the management because, like I said, I mean, if they're going to make a decision like that, everybody needs to be informed.
The company that runs the center, ASM Global, shared a statement saying they prioritize the health and well-being of horses in their care. As a matter of policy, they do not comment on personnel issues. Homeland Security did not immediately respond to requests for a comment. The Trump administration is seeking a $1 billion settlement from UCLA. The Department of Justice is accusing the university of anti-Semitism and other civil rights violations. UCLA is the first public university targeted by the administration over allegations of civil rights violations related to anti-Semitism. The DOJ says UCLA, quote, acted with deliberate indifference in creating a hostile educational environment for Jewish and Israeli students. UCLA had drawn widespread criticism for how it handled Israel-Hamas's protesters who were reacting to the Israel-Hamas war last year. The university's president says a payment of this scale would completely devastate the university system. Tonight, we are seeing some of the crime scene photos from those brutal murders of 4 Idaho college students. This is a look inside the home where the killings happened. These photos were released by the Moscow Police Department. They would have likely been shown at a trial, but last month, Brian Kohberger pleaded guilty to the 2022 killings. One photo shows a pair of handprints on a window. Another shows blood on a door. Kohberger was sentenced to life in prison for the crime. Well, we are learning more about a deadly implosion of an underwater submersible that was built by Washington-based OceanGate. This week, the Coast Guard released its findings about the company's 2023 trip to see the wreckage of the Titanic that ended with 5 people dead. Fox 13's Frankie Thompson spoke with the man who led that investigation.
Ignoring safety warnings, deliberate oversight, negligence, skipping regulations, all factors into the disastrous implosion that killed 5 people aboard the GateTitan.
In some ways, we want to make sure that it didn't happen in vain. You know, that's one of the primary goals of the Marine Board.
Jason Neubauer is chair of the U.S. Coast Guard Marine Board investigation. His team spent the last 2 years developing this report, 335 pages revealing all the failures that caused the Titan to implode below the North Atlantic in June 2023.
It absolutely was preventable.
Titan, which was operated by the Everett-based company OceanGate, was on a deep-sea tourist voyage to the Titanic wreckage. It took the Coast Guard 2 missions to pull the Titan remains from underwater.
But we did eventually get the debris that we needed to do the forensic analysis required to kind of figure out, you know, what failed.
Investigators found the hub had an inadequate design created by OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush. The hull was made of a breakable carbon fiber instead of steel alloy, which is stronger and commonly used.
And OceanGate stated several times that they would carefully review that real-time monitoring data to keep the vessel safe. It was one of the few safeguards that they had in place for this, what they called an experimental craft. Unfortunately, did not follow through with those commitments that they stated.
Neubauer says the weak design ultimately exposed the vessel to nearly 5,000 pounds per square inch of water pressure, instantly killing Rush and his 4 passengers.
It's so fast that everything inside the Titan would be incinerated as the pressure came in quickly.
Neubauer says the sub also lacked maintenance and inspections, did not have proper certification, nor was it registered.
In the case of the Titan, it's one of the first instances I've ever seen where a commercial vessel was involved that didn't even register with any state. We call it flagging of the vessel, so you can track it. Somebody's responsible for it. That didn't occur in this case, and I think it was intentional.
The disregard in safety would have handed Rush several criminal charges by the U.S. Justice Department if he were alive. Now, the Coast Guard has recommendations in its report to increase regulations and strengthen oversight within the submersible industry to avoid future catastrophe. Frankie Thompson, Fox 13 News.
Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, a scary surprise for someone taking out the trash. Tonight, how neighbors responded after the discovery of a 20-foot-long python in that dumpster. Plus, used car dealers taking notice of a shift in buyer behavior. Tonight, they're sharing what could affect your next purchase.
Prices are started to going up, and dealers are like in rush buying, filling up the inventories.
Authorities in Southern California are searching tonight for the thieves who broke into a store and stole thousands of dollars worth of Labubus. The gremlin-like plush dolls are one of the hottest retail items this year. These newly released surveillance images show the suspects breaking into One Stop Sales, which is in La Puente in LA County. The break-in happened on Wednesday in the early morning hours. And again, the search ongoing for those thieves tonight. On Wall Street today, stocks ended higher for the day and for the week. Investors are increasingly hopeful the Fed will start cutting rates as soon as next month. The Dow gained nearly 207 points. The Nasdaq was also up 207 to set a new record close. And the S&P 500 added 49 points. Tech companies, including Silicon Valley-based chip maker NVIDIA, as well as Apple, were higher on the day. Foster City, California's Gilead Sciences gained more than 8% during the trading session on results that beat analysts' forecasts. Well, get ready for a shift in the used car market. Fox's Max Gordon visited one dealership in California to get a look at how car sellers are changing their business strategy.
Uncertainty over tariffs appears to be driving up used car prices, and consumers are looking down market for their next ride. Here at Oro Cars in Van Nuys, California, the owner, Bobby, says he used to stock more cars like this Mercedes or the Porsche you can see behind me, but nowadays he's stocking more vehicles like this used Prius, simply because consumers are looking for more economical vehicles. But the problem is, Bobby says he's getting outbid at dealer auctions.
We normally able to buy like 7 to 10 cars. For past week, we weren't able to buy anything because, you know, prices are started to going up, and dealers are like in rush buying, filling up the inventories.
Used car prices have stabilized since COVID, but compared to this time last year, used car prices are up about 3%. Used vehicle sales were also up 2% year over year in July. This as dealers try to beef up their inventories before tariffs start to really bite. According to Cox Automotive, which tracks used car prices, tariff threats have made the used car market volatile in recent months. Still, experts from Kelley Blue Book say consumers don't need to rush out and immediately buy a car before prices go up further. They should still shop around and maybe check out other brands if their preferred model is in short supply.
I think the biggest advice is just don't panic. Take your time. You know, this is often a $25,000 to $50,000 decision. You don't want to make it in a hurry based on a scary news story.
Back here at Oro Cars, the owner, Bobby, says another headwind he's facing is high car insurance prices, and he says it's even torpedoed a few deals. In Van Nuys, California, Max Gordon, Fox Business.
All right, finally tonight, a startling discovery for someone who was just taking out the trash in Southern California. Imagine seeing this. That 20-foot-long python was slithering around inside an apartment complex's dumpster in downtown L.A. Animal rescuer Joseph Hart stepped in and saved the snake after neighbors called for help. Hart says the snake suffered from a mouth infection and was likely abandoned because of the costly medical treatment. The female python, nicknamed Apples, is now on the road to recovery. And a good thing he stepped in to get that snake out of the dumpster. All right, that does it for West Coast Wrap tonight. We appreciate you watching as always. And a quick reminder before we go here, you can always stay up to date on all the big stories we're covering across the West at westcoastwrap.com. Have a great night.